Well, we become conscious of God, and we're holding the view of God that He's the perfection of what we value, which is not the same then as being conscious of oneself. One's conscious of oneself in that one has not achieved the fullness of that which we value. And in realizing that, we are motivated to achieve such, because that is what we value. But we're not living to the full of what we value. So we make efforts to, of course. We let our values transform us. And if we find in consequence that the life that they bring is not satisfactory, then we start to look for an improvement in the values. So I might think, the one I usually take is, I might think that loving everybody equally is a good idea. And then I find that my children are extremely unhappy about this. They need parents that give them priority. They don't want to be just one of an entire school of children. They need parents for whom they're very significant. So they need me to give them priority. I think far more about my child's future than the future of the child next door. Of course, I feel in some sense that God has given it to me to be particular about this, as indeed I'm particular about my wife. I don't make love to every woman I meet. This is considered quite civilized, the way to go. I seem to have a value that's in some keeping in matched by society, or at least traditional societies. Well, some societies are traditionally promiscuous, of course. So do you see, whereas most people are conscious of themselves as they are, not in relation to what they value, but more especially what they would like to do in the short run. They would like more, and then they find there's satiation, so what else can I do? And they want more and more. And you might think that this is your value. The more and more I can get, the better, so I shall become a billionaire. But you find halfway along the track that, putting your billions together, it's causing you a lot of unhappiness. For some reason or other, the wife wasn't content with this. And the kids weren't entirely happy either. They actually wanted me there on sports day, but I was busy making a fortune. So I ideally quickly learned that, perhaps I don't value being a billionaire that much. Perhaps I just value being a millionaire, and I've got that already. I could spend more time with my family and kids. Do you see your values change? I think for the better. I trust for the better. So, very simply, I sort of think I would like God to exist, because that would be wonderful, especially if He had my values. So my God, the only way I can love Him is if He has got my values. Great, we're getting on famously. He's got the same values as me. And then I find living this way doesn't bring great happiness. Oh, I thought my God was, someone who was intensely courageous and patriotic. And I find, for some reason or other, my family don't quite agree. They think I should be at home more. The wife doesn't want me to come home wounded either. She's very worried about me. In fact, she's worried to death because I'm on the battlefield. She doesn't want to be a widow, and if she is a widow, life's going to be tough in some societies. So I start to realize, no, I don't just value being patriotic and a great hero. Perhaps I value being a good dad or a good husband. Perhaps both. Can they be consistent in some way? And then, of course, you sort of think, well, perhaps I should be a good citizen. What is a good citizen? So you start to change your values. Adjust. A good citizen isn't simply the courageous, patriotic hero. He may not be able to knuckle down to normal living and a stable, mundane job. So perhaps we do value people that are able to do such. I mean, this is a very sort of trivial, elementary reasoning, isn't it? So we change our values. But of course, there is tremendous encouragement and assurance in personifying your values as your God and devoting yourself to Him. Because obviously your God would be loving and caring, especially if someone who has similar values to himself, which yours has. So the concept of God is a great encouragement to you and a great assurance. You're modelling yourself on the perfection of your values. And you're living increasingly accordingly and finding out what those values result in. What are the consequences in life? And you adjust your values according to whether those consequences are indeed good or not good. But you're dedicated to what you understand to be that which is fine and good, and you will change. You will, by practicing such, become clearer on what is good and what is bad from your life's experience. And I mean, good values are values that bring what? Health, vitality, love, peace, joy. You know the list. Wisdom, understanding. So you achieve what you value, and you adjust what you value according to what you're achieving. Simple rule of living. Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, soul, mind and strength. This is the first and great commandment from Jesus' point of view in the story. And love your neighbour as yourself. Well, of course, if your neighbour is defined as the person who rescued you when you were in dire straits, on the side of the road, beaten up by robbers and so on, well, of course you'll love him as yourself. Because you're overcome with gratitude to him, aren't you? Just as you are to God for creating this life and opportunity of life and universe and all the things that you enjoy. You're filled with gratitude, filled with hope, filled with joy, filled with devotion, filled with love, assurance, confidence. It's the way to go. You don't have to be an Einstein genius to see this, do you? Let me pause a minute and just pick up from the beginning. Well, I think I've talked myself out. I don't need to say more. Whatsoever's good and lovely. Think on these things. Your gratitude will grow. Your joy will grow. Your peace, your assurance, your hope. Everything you value. And you'll be such a blessing. And blessed. Thank you, Heavenly